Jr. is having it reassessed, saying if it does not meet, quote, today's gold standard, it will be removed from the food supply.
Good Day Chicago at 6 starts now.
Breaking now at 6, terrifying new video in the search for Nancy Guthrie as police detain, then release a person of interest.
And new body cam video is going to be released in a Border Patrol agent's shooting of a Chicago woman. We are going to show that video to you.
Plus, 2 new Hail Marys tossed in an attempt to get the Bears to build a new stadium over state lines.
And taking a live look outside this morning, the warm stretch continues. It is practically a heat wave.
I would say so.
Everybody, a heat wave.
Kind of like summer.
All right, Surfing USA. Good morning, everybody. I'm Anthony Ponce.
And I'm Gabriela Primus, filling in for Natalie Bumpke. Let's get over to Mike for an updated forecast. I wore my flowers for.
There you go. I like it. Good move.
No shame in that. And look, for February, this is a heat wave. We got close to 50 at O'Hare yesterday, topped out at 49. But I know a lot of spots did hit that 50-degree mark. Fear not. We've got plenty of 50s in the hopper coming up. Today, look at the light already coming up over the lake there. A little bit of lake effect cloudiness there in the distance, but everywhere else, plenty of sunshine, and you will see uninterrupted sun today. Temperatures getting to around 30 at 9, 38 at noon. Normal high this time of year is about 34, 41 at 4 o'clock, a fine afternoon with plenty of sunshine on the way. And today and tomorrow are the 2 coldest days in my forecast. Wait till you see what's looking ahead for the weekend. All right, let's get you where you need to be on time. It's a little after 6. Gabriela, how are we doing on the roads?
Hey there, Mike. Well, you're looking at it right now. It's all in the green still if you're taking an inbound trip into the city. Just over 25 minutes on the Kennedy from O'Hare to downtown, around 25 on the Eisenhower and on the Stevenson, under 20 minutes, or just above 20 minutes now on the Dan Ryan from 95th to the Burn interchange here at 6 o'clock. We do have one incident to report. It's a rollover crash involving a car and a semi-truck. It's on the northbound side of I-57. So before you get to the Dan Ryan at 147th, 2 right lanes are blocked there. And then if you are taking Metro Southwest service, please be aware that there's a freight train derailment that's causing some issues for already 3 to 4 trains. So make sure you're checking that app.
Thank you, Gabby. Breaking this morning, law enforcement in Arizona just released the person of interest that they had detained in connection to Nancy Guthrie's disappearance.
Law enforcement brought that person in for questioning following a traffic stop on Tuesday. Investigators were also seen searching and taking away potential evidence from property in Pio Rico. Hours later, the detained person was released. A man who claims he was the person detained is actually speaking out about what happened in new video.
You were apprehended for questioning. How would you describe what happened to you?
Terrifying. Something I didn't do for something. I was being like, I felt like I was being kidnapped, bro, because they didn't tell me anything at the beginning. Yeah, I work in Tucson.
What do you do?
GLS, deliver packages.
Okay, do you think you might have delivered a package to Nancy Guthrie's house?
I don't know. Might have been a possibility. I don't know.
The developments come hours after the FBI was able to release this surveillance video showing a masked person outside Nancy Guthrie's home the night she went missing. And for the first time Tuesday, experts noticed activity on the Bitcoin wallet linked to alleged ransom note demanding millions in cryptocurrency for Nancy's safe return. Today's show host Savannah Guthrie says her family believes their mother is still alive. Also breaking this morning, the FAA is halting all flights to and from El Paso International Airport for the next 10 days. The agency did not go into specifics, only saying it was for special security reasons. The move appears to be a surprise to state and local officials. It went into effect around 11:30 p.m. Tuesday and will remain in effect until 11:30 p.m. on February 20th.
Some major developments here at home where body camera video has been released in a Border Patrol agent's shooting of a Chicago woman. Say Kwan is live with the update for us. Say.
Hey, good morning to you guys. This newly released evidence will now become the center of a new civil lawsuit that Miramar Martinez is expected to announce today. But guys, this evidence really gives us a better idea of exactly what happened in the moments leading up to the shooting. And it also gives us a glimpse at the conversations these federal agents had afterwards.
They're trying to box us in. Watch out. We're going to make contact and we're boxed in. We are boxed in. All
right, you're fine. All right, out of the car.
Be advised, we've been struck. Get out.
So this is the body cam video from the morning of October 4th, the day Miramar Martinez was shot 5 times in the Brighton Park neighborhood. The federal agent who fired those shots is Charles Exum. Now, according to Homeland Security, Martinez rammed into the car that Exum and other federal agents were in, but attorneys for Martinez have continued to say this video shows otherwise. So when you really break it down, this video actually shows Agent Exum, who is driving the car, turning the steering wheel to the left and hitting a car before getting out and opening fire. So this video, once again, is going to be a big focus here moving forward for Miramar Martinez, especially with that civil lawsuit expected to be filed. We know that announcement is coming at around 11:30 today. Guys.
Hey, also, we know more evidence was released, some of it involving Greg Bavino. How is he involved in this newly released evidence?
Right. So Greg Bavino, obviously Border Patrol commander, has been, the face of these immigration operations. And we actually were able to get a look at an email that he sent to Charles Exum, which is, again, that federal agent who fired those shots at Miramar Martinez. And I do have the details here. He actually said in that email basically applauding him and his actions, saying, quote, excellent service in Chicago. He even offered to extend his retirement age past 57. But also, we know there's other evidence, too. There's a whole slew of other text messages and photos that were released as part of this. And some of those text messages did reveal what Agent Exum actually sent on the job and right after the shooting. Some of those texts, he actually mentioned that he got a lot of support from his higher-ups, and he named Greg Bavino and Kristi Noem just as for the few names that was mentioned in that text.
Okay, so with those details in mind, what is the response from DHS? Have we really heard anything from them recently?
Yeah, good question. We still have not heard from them, especially with this newly released evidence now out. They have not commented on this yet. Now, that may change, of course, especially when that civil lawsuit is announced today. But still, DHS is standing by what they first said right after that shooting, which is that Miramar Martinez rammed into the car of federal agents and labeled her a domestic terrorist. So we'll see if that language changes and what really they say after the civil lawsuit is announced.
Okay, Saquon, thank you for that update. Appreciate the report. It is 6:07, and again, we will continue following any breaking developments with regard to DHS.
Yeah, thank you, Say. All right, today we're expecting a man to be sentenced for a double homicide in Chinatown almost 6 years ago. In February of 2020, police say Alvin Thomas approached 2 men and demanded money from them before shooting both of them. The judge says the mandatory sentence is life imprisonment without possibility of parole. And developing this morning, 10 people are dead and at least 25 are hurt after a shooting at a school in British Columbia. It happened in the small town of Tumbler Ridge. It's about 600 miles north of Vancouver. The school where it happened has around 175 students. Investigators say the shooter is a woman, but have not released her name just yet. They say it appears she took her own life. Right now, the motive is a mystery.
New this morning, authorities have evicted that group of people that were squatting at a home in LaGrange. As we take a video of them leaving the home on South Catherine Avenue yesterday evening, following an order from a judge. This is a story we first brought you on Monday. These squatters had been in the home since it was foreclosed on last year. Neighbors say it's been a nightmare and that police have raided the home several times for drugs and prostitution.
6:08, it already seems kind of never ending, but the battle over the Bears Neck Stadium site just got a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, as Brian Jackson reports, another city is throwing a Hail Mary into the mix here. They're throwing their hat into the ring.
This is a big development this morning, you guys, as Portage City officials announced their own proposal to build a privately funded stadium on the north side of the city. They're calling this Hallis Harbor in reference to the team's Hallis Hall headquarters in Lake Forest. They've already released these renderings of it. If this plan does go through, the stadium would reportedly be built on the former sports resort site. Now, there is some local competition across state lines from both Hammond and Gary, which has proposed possible sites at the Hard Rock Casino, Buffington Harbor, and near the Indiana Dunes.
A lot of communities that want this to happen. All of the infrastructure, all of the amenities, all of the foundational things I laid out before, I believe Gary is the best location. If they choose to remain in Illinois, that's on them.
That, of course, was the mayor of Gary making their pitch. On Monday, Governor J.B. Pritzker said that his team is making progress on a plan to keep the Bears in Illinois. But the Indiana Senate has already passed a bill that would set up an entity in charge of financing and building a new stadium. Lawmakers said that they hope to have it on the governor's desk by the end of the month. And guys, it doesn't end there. This search for a Bears new stadium could potentially go across state lines to Iowa. They're now throwing their hat in the ring, launching a similar bill on Tuesday that would incentivize building a stadium in the Hawkeye states. The question now is whether that will stand a chance. I'm sure the Bears will explore all of their options.
All right, Brian, that would be wild.
Anthony just says no.
Yeah. What is it, a 3-hour drive to the border? I just don't see that happening. Yeah, people in Arlington Heights making another push today to keep the Bears in Chicagoland. A coalition of business owners, they call themselves Touchdown Arlington. They're going to be holding a rally over at the DoubleTree Hotel in Arlington Heights. They're calling it Springfield Kickoff. Bring the Bears to Arlington Heights.
All right, spring training is about to be in full swing in Arizona. I'm jealous of our Tino Wynn. Pitchers and catchers for the Cubs report today. White Sox pitchers and catchers reported to Glendale yesterday. And there's more excitement around the Sox as they look to avoid another 100-loss season.
It says a lot about the progress that we've made, and that's certainly meaningful. At the same time, we know that if we want to capitalize on that momentum and take the next step forward, we really have to start at zero here in camp and create habits around the right things. And, that's our approach to camp this year. So excited to do that after, what was a great second half and a great offseason.
The Sox have had 3 straight seasons of more than 100 losses. I know. I knew Mike was going to have a little.
All right, look, Tina, our director just brought this up. Tina's sleepless out there in Arizona. That's all good. I was out playing with the dog yesterday, not wearing a coat. So come on,
not bad.
That is not bad this time of year. And we're going to knock temperatures back a little bit today and tomorrow, but then I've got 50s on the way for a whole bunch of days. This is a nice run of weather. One of the downsides, those of you who are dog owners know, of course, this is kind of doubly problematic because got to do a little cleanup maybe in the yard from things that are left over in the snow. But we got the muddy paws alert on the way due to the snow melt. But this big melt continues. No end in sight to above normal temperatures. A run at 60 is likely next week, perhaps for a couple of days, and no precipitation at all expected here for at least the next week. 26 degrees now at O'Hare. Skies are clear. We have a west wind at 6, wind chill 19. Yeah, you need the coat out there this morning. It's going to be cold, and it is cold. 18 at Aurora's Airport, 22 at Morris, 27 Chicago Heights and Midway, 30 at Chicago's Lakefront, 30 at Michigan City, and in Gary, it is 28 degrees right now. I think pretty much area-wide. We're headed for the low 40s this afternoon, but I've got a whole slew of 50s coming up in the 7-8.
All right, sounds good to us. Thank you, Mike. After the break, we take you to Arizona following those major developments in the case for Nancy Guthrie. We're getting answers about what's next live. Stay with us.
only at Ashley.
All right, welcome back, everybody, as we take a live look over Maggie Daly Park right there. It is going to be another warm one. Mike says we are on track for a little mini February heat wave here. We'll check in with him in just a second. But first, to some stories. A man is facing charges after allegedly grabbing a minor in Palatine. Police say it happened Monday morning right near the intersection of West Woods Street and just a block away from the Palatine train stop. 26-year-old Kierv Williams is facing multiple charges, including aggravated kidnapping. The young girl suffered minor injuries. The daycare director who once cared for the 8-year-old who was found dead in Round Lake Beach says she tried to warn DCFS about her concerns. She says that 8-year-old Markel Pierce was always hungry when under her care, often eating 3 to 4 times a day. She also noticed patches of missing hair on the back of his head. And the boy was found unresponsive inside his home last Friday. The daycare director also says someone contacted DCFS with concerns and that DCFS also contacted her.
We have very good portions for snack. They'd have first, then they'd have seconds, then they might ask for thirds. One of the red flags was that as they were leaving, he had another snack. Mom grabbed it out of his hand and threw it on the table and said, "Don't act like you're not fed." And then he kind of, dropped his head down and just walked down the hallway with.
It's so sad to hear. She says 3 days after she spoke with DCFS, Markel and his sister were abruptly taken out of the daycare. Markel's mother and her boyfriend are now both charged with first-degree murder and child endangerment.
All right, now to some national news that a lot of people have their eyes on. Major developments overnight in the search for Nancy Guthrie, now in its 11th day. The FBI releasing this new video from before her disappearance. But this morning, police say they have released the person they detained in connection with the investigation.
Caroline Elliott joins us live now from Tucson, Arizona with the very latest. Caroline?
Yeah, Anthony, Gabriella, we're seeing a lot of developments here in the Tucson area overnight. As you mentioned, we now know police released the person they detained yesterday. We know a lot of people around the country. It was almost a sigh of relief when this detainment happened, but we're now learning in the last couple hours here that person has been released. We were talking with our crew was talking with that person who was released a couple hours ago when he told them that, again, police detained him. They took his cell phone. They were asking him all different kinds of questions about where he had been, questions about Nancy Guthrie, but he told them he didn't know anything and he wasn't even sure if he had ever been to this house. So again, at this point, it looks like investigators are kind of back to square one with who could be in that surveillance video the FBI pushed out. But we do know investigators are now looking at a lot of different tips. But as of right now, they still do not have a suspect or a person of interest in this case.
What is the latest, Caroline, that we've heard from the Guthrie family?
So again, you just broke up there a little bit. The latest that we do have. Did you ask about the family?
The Guthrie family. Have we heard anything from them? What is the last statement they have made publicly?
Yeah, so we do know that Savannah Guthrie was quite active on social media after that surveillance video was released yesterday. And what is she saying? She's saying that she believes her mom is still alive, and she seemed to really be talking to those alleged kidnappers directly, saying please bring her home, also sharing that tip line where people can call police with any information they have. And really the family at this point really counting on the public to take a closer look at the surveillance video. Again, we know that that person is masked. He has gloves on. It's kind of hard to make out anything. But again, counting on the fact that someone could possibly look at his eyebrows, look at those eyes, the eye shape, and tell if they do know that person and then report that information to police.
Yeah, his eyes are pretty visible in that video. Caroline Elliott, thank you for that report from Tucson, Arizona. Keep us posted. All right, it's 6:20 back here in Chicago. Sending things over to Mike Kaplan, and I like this little trend you have going over there.
January wouldn't end, and now I want February to just keep coming.
Right.
Yeah, keep it coming.
Well, we're on a roll, and this weather, this above normal temperature weather and no big storm weather is going to continue for the foreseeable future. Out there this morning, a beautiful sunrise is just minutes away. Sky already lighting up there in the distance. You can see some of the lake effect clouds. They're way out there on the really the east side of the lake, but we can see them from the Chicago side. A beautiful sky is on the way. But here's the deal. It's cold out there this morning. We've got 26 at O'Hare, 25s at Woodstock and Waukegan, even colder around Morris and LaSalle, low 20s there. 28 degrees in Merrillville, Valparaiso, and Gary. And yesterday, we topped out at west of the city. Today, it's not going to be as warm, but this is still well above normal. We got a 42 coming today with sunshine. Yeah, that's just fine. And I still think our computer model, which is putting those numbers up there, probably a touch on the low side in Lake and McHenry County. You'll be in the upper 30s and low 40s in Northwest Indiana, too. But look at this 7-day forecast, folks. Every single day, way above normal, with 50 plus on the way starting Friday, right on into next week. And a couple of days next week, I think we're going to tag that 60-degree mark here with no rain, no snow in sight. Back to you.
Mike, we are taking a look at Skyfox, or hopefully soon for some size look at Skyfox. But here's a look at your drive times for now here at 622. It was around 30 minutes on the Kennedy, Eisenhower, and Stevenson, around 25 minutes on the Dan Ryan this time of morning if you're heading into the city. We are looking at Skyfox right now. They're live, heading over to a freight train derailment that's been causing a lot of trouble on Southwest service. This is happening in Oak Lawn, and there's also a street closure because of this freight train derailment. It is at 107th and Central Avenue. Both the northbound side and southbound side are closed in that location, so please keep that in mind if you are traveling in the area. We'll give you an updated look once they get to that location, or maybe they're following a different crash as well. Keep you updated.
Okay, Gabby, thank you very much. A new scam is growing ahead of Valentine's Day, everybody. It's costing some people tens of thousands of dollars. We have an important warning and all the signs to watch out for so you do not fall victim. Stay with us.
Got junk.
Welcome back. A family in Valparaiso is getting ready to sue the school district over injuries that allegedly happened during their son's football practice.
Medical records from the family showed he had a broken wrist and a concussion. The father, Jason Solomon, claims the high school was negligent. He says no one contacted him that night about any of his son's injuries. He said he only found out about it after his son texted him. He went into the gym himself to search for his son. He found him with an ice bag on his wrist.
Yeah, I looked at him, I says, buddy, are you okay? And he's like, Dad, I think it's broke. And they're like, no, it's a sprain. I finally got him into the car, and then as I was pulling out, he just went forward. His neck went forward, his eyes, he's having a hard time keeping his eyes open.
Against their wishes, he took his son to St. Mary's Medical Center, where medical records showed he had a broken wrist indeed and a concussion. Valparaiso Community School Superintendent Dr. Jim McCall disputed some of the claims, specifically that no one witnessed or reported an injury during practice. He says the coach was not aware of the boy's injuries until practice was over, then notified the athletic trainer.
All right, Valentine's Day. Just 3 days away now, and romance scammers are out here right now. They're using AI to build fake profiles, and it's getting hard to tell what is real. Here's how this scam is working. They're spending weeks or even months in some cases talking to folks, learning their lives, making them feel seen, and then there's an emergency suddenly, and then all of a sudden they need money. Cybersecurity experts say that these scams have cost people over $1 billion. These scammers often use AI, fake identities, or deep fake videos. A former FBI undercover operative says even smart people can get caught because of how our brains work.
We all suffer from a psychology called confirmation bias. When we see something that we truly want to be true, we will confirm it is true for ourselves, even though something within us knows it's too good to be true. You'll just make it true because you want to believe that you've just fallen in love. You want to believe that this person is that magic person for you. And that's why romance fraud can be one of the most nefarious crimes out there.
And here is the line to be aware of. The second that someone you met online asks for money, stop and block that individual. News at 4 anchor Terrence Lee sat down with a local man, lost 70 grand. 70 grand, and he told Terrence he thought he was too smart to fall for something like that, but that's exactly why they target folks. Terrence's full story on this on fox32chicago.com, so encourage everyone to check that out.
I watched it last night. It was a great story, storytelling, not a great story. You don't want that to happen to anyone, but yeah, please be careful out there. Mike Kaplan, we don't have to really warn anyone about the weather because it's looking mighty fine.
No, people, longtime residents here may recall the Valentine's Day of 1990 when sudden snow crippled everything on Valentine's Day. No such concerns this weekend. In fact, temperatures are going to be in the 50s. I've got the full forecast coming right up.
to Chicago.
Good morning. Happy Wednesday morning, everybody. It is 6:31. We appreciate you joining us here on Good Day Chicago.
And I'm Gabriella Primus, filling in for Natalie Bombke. The top stories we're following this morning. Terrifying new video shows a masked person at the door of Nancy Guthrie's home the day before she disappeared. So we have that and the person of interest now released in this case.
And a breaking story that'll have a huge impact on air travel. Why a major airport is shutting down flights and airspace in that area for the next 10 days.
Plus, squatters are forced to leave a home in LaGrange. We're live to explain what's next for this property.
All right, we will get to those stories in more detail in just a moment. But first, let's check in with Mike Kaplan on a Wednesday. It's a nice and mild out there for early Feb.
It is. You know, yesterday was absolutely spectacular. I hope you got outside and enjoyed that. If you didn't, you have a whole bunch of days that you can do so, including today. It just won't be quite as warm today as it was yesterday. It's only 26, for example, at O'Hare. That's kind of representative of temperatures across the area. You can still see quite a bit of pancake ice out on the lake right now. We have a wind chills, what it feels like on exposed skin, of 19. Other area temperatures mainly in the 20s with a one spot in the teens. The Roars Airport, always colder. 18 there in Sugar Grove, but it's 28 at Gary and Valpo, 25 at Waukegan, DeKalb 23, and in Morris it is 22. Everybody's going to see plenty of sunshine today. I think our high temperature hits at least 42. That's well above normal for this time of year. This freight train thing, Gabriella, how long is it going to take to right that ship?
Mike, closed until further notice. Yeah, this is not a good scene. It happened around 4:30, or that's when it was first reported. We have Sky Fox Live over Oak Lawn right now. It's also causing some trouble on our roads, too. So the intersection at 107th and Central Avenue is going to be blocked until further notice. Obviously, this is much worse than I was thinking. This is the first time, really, we're looking at it with you here live from Sky Fox. Looks like they're working on it, maybe getting some things figured out. But take note, Southwest service trains are completely stopped in both directions, again, until further notice due to this freight train derailment in Oak Lawn. All Metro riders on this line, you should be strongly advised to seek an alternate route, maybe taking Metro Electric this morning, one of the other train lines, because this is going to take likely a while. That's my best guess. Maybe we can reach out to Metro to see if they have more details for us and can give us kind of a timeline on when things can be up and running. But man, interesting scene here. We'll keep you updated.
That is going to take a long time to clean up that. That is a major derailment there. Okay, some other breaking news to get to right now. Law enforcement in Arizona just released the person that they had detained in connection to Nancy Guthrie's disappearance.
Law enforcement brought that person in for ongoing questioning following a traffic stop on Tuesday. So investigators are also seen searching and taking away potential evidence from property in Puerto Rico. Hours later, the detained person was released. A man who claims he was the person detained is now speaking out about what happened in some new video.
You were apprehended for questioning. How would you describe what happened to you?
Terrifying. Something I didn't do for something. I was being like, I felt like I was being kidnapped, bro, because they didn't tell me anything at the beginning. Yeah, I work in Tucson.
What do you do?
GLS, deliver packages.
Okay, do you think you might have delivered a package to Nancy Guthrie's house?
I don't know. Might have been a possibility. I don't know.
The developments come hours after the FBI was able to release this surveillance video. It shows a masked person outside Nancy Guthrie's home the night she went missing. And for the first time Tuesday, experts noticed activity on that Bitcoin wallet linked to an alleged ransom note, and that was demanding millions in cryptocurrency for Nancy's safe return. Today's show host Savannah Guthrie says her family believes their mother is still alive. Also breaking this morning, the FAA is halting all flights to and from El Paso International Airport for the next 10 days. The agency did not go into any specifics, only saying it was for special security reasons. The move appears to be a surprise to state and local officials. It went into effect around 11:30 p.m. Tuesday and will remain in effect until 11:30 p.m. on February 20th.
Evidence related to the shooting of a Chicago woman by ICE agents has been released to the public. Body cam video shows the shooting of Marimar Martinez. Also within the evidence is an email from Border Chief Gregory Bavino to the agent who shot Martinez. His name is Charles Exum. Bavino praises Exum for his work in Chicago. Last week, a judge ruled in favor of the release, which is something that Marimar Martinez and her attorney asked for. They wanted this out there when she testified on Capitol Hill.
People in West Suburban LaGrange are breathing a sigh of relief after squatters are booted from a neighborhood home.
Roseanne has more on a new chapter for this home. This has been quite the dramatic event for neighbors, correct, Roseanne?
It certainly has. After a year and a half long ordeal, residents here on Catherine Street are greatly relieved that this house is empty once again. Looks like so many others on the block, but the backstory, unbelievable. Squatters were finally evicted yesterday and forced to hand over the keys to the person who purchased this home on Catherine Street at auction in 2024. Now, the people who were living here, the squatters, moved their belongings, pets and all, packed up a minivan and left under the watchful eyes of LaGrange police. They were part of a parade of drug users at times, prostitutes seen coming and going, and people engaging in disorderly conduct at this house. As recently as last Friday, a neighbor's Ring doorbell camera captured a man crawling into a window. Neighbors say he was one of 4 to 6 people who were still living here by last week. But yesterday, finally, some relief, and neighbors are elated.
The whole neighborhood was out and just watching to make sure that it was actually going to happen. You know, it's something that we've been waiting for quite a while. So to see it actually come to fruition was fun and exciting. You know, we feel a little bad sometimes for the people that it affects that are in there and maybe don't know what's going on or need some help. But so there were elements of it that were kind of sad, but overall it's great for the neighborhood and the new owner.
Right. Now, this did offer a crash course for all of these residents on the system and how it works. And they said there were so many complicating factors. Police had their hands tied. They couldn't just barge into this house anytime if they weren't seeing something happening, you know, without a search warrant. There were issues with the court system, court delays. And so the process just went on and on. Some neighbors were wondering if they were ever going to see the day. But they banded together. They stuck it out. And today, this house is empty. New owner has the keys. Back to you in the studio.
That is wild. That is wild. Okay, so Roseanne, in terms of looking ahead, new owner's got the keys. What do we know about this new owner and how that's going to play out there? Is he or she going to move in there, keep the house locked up, sell it, rent it?
Yeah. Well, we don't know a lot of specifics. The attorney for that new owner did not want to talk on camera yesterday, but I can tell you the neighbors here are ready to welcome this.
and it's going to protect us from this next little wave of low pressure that's going to be a clean miss way off to our south. You know, yesterday I had some concerns that maybe some of that rain could sneak into maybe LaSalle County. Not going to happen. It's Arkansas. It may be getting to Memphis. Not going to hit us at all. So no precipitation tomorrow. The other time frame of concern was over the weekend, and I've been in the camp that says that thing is missing us to the south, and virtually every computer model is signaling that baby's missing us way to the south. So we're just going to keep it dry here right on into next week. This is the extended temperature outlook, February 19th, so a week from tomorrow, through the 25th of February, and pretty much anywhere from the Rockies east expected to be warmer than normal. This is a confidence scheme, so there's higher confidence in it being warmer than normal in Chicago than, say, in Jackson, Wyoming. But the point is, it's going to stay warm here for at least the next week and a half. 42 today, northwest winds at 5 to 15, lots of sunshine. Tonight, 25 for the low, seasonably chilly under a clear to partly cloudy sky. And look at, I mean, just if you did not know that it was February, you look at those numbers, you're probably thinking, you know, maybe early April. But 50 plus Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. And I still think a couple of days next week could be a 60 plus. We'll be right back after this.
There's outrage. Deadly encounter was captured, and that's when a tear gas canister.
This is terror, and it won't stop until we end ICE. Juliana Stratton has made clear ICE must be abolished. She took on Trump in Illinois, standing with Governor Pritzker. Now Juliana Stratton will take the fight to Washington to stop the terror and stand up for Illinois. Illinois Future PAC is responsible for the content.
And find an agent at amfam.com.
Since 1936.
And find an agent at amfam.com.
Tuesdays, Fox's critically acclaimed hit Doc is all new.
I need to be the doctor that I was.
Doc, all new, Tuesdays on Fox.
All right, welcome back. Let's take another live look from our chopper over a massive train derailment. This is a huge mess down in the Chicago Ridge, the village of Chicago Ridge, so southwest suburbs there. Heads up, the police department just released some info about what happened here. Okay, here's what we know. There's no danger to the public, they say. There's no hazardous materials involved. However, in terms of travel this morning, it is a huge headache, okay? There is no Metro train service to and from Chicago Ridge indefinitely. They don't know how long it's going to take to clean this up, so commuters are urged to seek alternative transportation if you go on the Metro. Also, Ridgeland Avenue is closed down between Southwest Highway and Washington. Central Avenue is closed at the railroad tracks between 107th and Pleasant. So officials are asking drivers this morning to just avoid the area if you can. Find different ways in and out of the city. If you live in that area, avoid that area if possible. And we will keep you updated. We don't know anything about injuries or the cause of this, but the one thing we do know that no hazardous materials were involved, so that is at least a positive. We'll keep an eye on it for you. All right, other news. A man is facing charges after allegedly grabbing a minor in Palatine. Police say it happened Monday morning on West Wood Street, just a block away from the Palatine station. 26-year-old Kierv Williams is now facing multiple charges, including aggravated kidnapping. The young girl did suffer minor injuries. Also, the daycare director who once cared for the 8-year-old boy who was found dead in Round Lake Beach says that she tried to warn DCFS about concerns. She says that 8-year-old Markel Pierce was always hungry when he came into the daycare. He often ate 3 to 4 times a day when he was under their care, she says. She also says she noticed patches of missing hair on the back of his head from time to time. The boy was found unresponsive inside his home last Friday. The daycare director also says that someone contacted DCFS with concerns and the agency contacted her back.
We have very good portions for snack. They'd have first, then they'd have seconds, then they might ask for thirds. One of the red flags was that as they were leaving, he had another snack. Mom grabbed it out of his hand and threw it on the table and said, "Don't act like you're not fed." And then he kind of, dropped his head down and just walked down the hallway with.
And she says 3 days after she spoke with DCFS, Markel and his sister were abruptly taken out of the daycare. Markel's mom and her boyfriend, they're both charged with first-degree murder and child endangerment.
Developing this morning, 10 people are dead and at least 25 are hurt after a shooting at a school and a home in British Columbia. It happened in the small town of Tumbler Ridge. It's about 600 miles north of Vancouver. The school where it happened only has around 175 students. Investigators say the shooter is a woman, and no details have been released, including her name. They say it appears she took her own life. Right now, the motive is a mystery.
We are learning new details about how millions of dollars in federal health funding cuts will affect Illinois. We told you this yesterday, that the White House had planned to slash $600 million in public health grants for a group of states, Democratic states, including Illinois. Now the Sun-Times reports that includes at least $29 million for Illinois family planning and HIV prevention programs. The New York Times on Monday reported the pending cuts to programs in California, Colorado, Minnesota, and of course, Illinois. All right, still ahead, we are talking about retirement and some stats that are going to shock you here. We'll tell you how much people are really saving.
Join us.
tonight on Fox.
All right, welcome back. Taking a live look from Sky Fox. This is breaking news out of the southwest suburbs. So Chicago Ridge is saying that there's a free train derailment that's stopping all train service on the southwest service and also shutting down some roads in this area. So take a closer look at your screen if you are just listening to us right now, because it is quite shocking. Luckily, we're not seeing any hazardous material spilled because of this. We're not hearing about any injuries just yet. Luckily, that stays, the case throughout the morning. But obviously, this is a closure until further notice, and most of the closures are happening between Ridgeland Avenue and Central Avenue if you do travel by car around this area. And again, if you do travel by train, Metro Southwest service operations are shut down right now in Chicago Ridge. So I would suggest using Rock Island or Heritage Corridor service until further notice again. We'll keep you updated on this and much more, hopefully getting some answers from Metra about a timeline on this. Switching gears here, this figure might shock you. The average U.S. worker only has $955 saved up for retirement. Yep, you heard that right. That's according to a new report from the National Institute on Retirement Security. It includes people with no savings at all. For those with some money tucked away, the average retirement savings balance was around $40,000. That's reportedly hardly enough to fund a retirement that could potentially last decades. So we asked the executive director of the NIRS the million-dollar question, how much do you really need?
So there's no one right answer for that. A lot of financial advisors will talk about a 4% rule, which is essentially the income you'll get in retirement adjusted for inflation each year. Should be about 4% of what you have at retirement. So you take out 4% the first year, the next year a little bit more for inflation. And maybe a simpler way to think about it is take your savings and divide by 25, and that's a rough estimate of the income that your savings will provide.
Doonan says saving has become a little more complicated because of affordability issues since employers have started phasing out pension plans. Housing, childcare, and college costs also play a role in this.
New this morning, a federal judge has ruled to allow key parts of a new law banning some credit card fees to go into effect. The law bans so-called swipe fees on taxes and tips. The goal is to lower the amount that credit card companies can charge retailers. Illinois passed the first-in-the-nation bill back in 2024, and it is set to go into effect this summer.
6:55, I will have to say that I saw a lot of pups on the street yesterday. A little walking, a lot of smiling, a lot of tail
wagging. Tail wagging.
Whales.
I could say, wait a minute,
whales?
whales? Do we have whales? I'm about to see
What
that.
is she talking about?
Well, happy dogs will be outside for, a longer period of time than that quick zip in and out deal that we had to do almost every day in January, right? But, of course, this is a muddy pause alert sort of weather with these temperatures that are thawing everything out. Snow is melting. Another day of melting temperatures on the way with low to maybe mid-40s. I think pretty much area-wide. Our computer model is populating upper 30s in Northwest Indiana. I still think you can get there. It's going to be a little more cloud cover coming off the lake. I would say maybe Michigan City, Westville, LaPorte. You might not be as warm, but I think in Lake and Porter County, you're going to get to 40. And even these upper 30s in Lake and McHenry County, I think it'll be a 40 plus. Farther southwest you go, yes, I agree. Mid to perhaps a few upper 40s are likely in those spots. Now let's take a look at the satellite and radar composite. There's nothing to show you locally. Skies are perfectly clear, and I think we're going to see uninterrupted sunshine today. Maybe a high cloud. That would be it. Mostly sunny. 42, not as warm as yesterday, but still well above normal for the 11th of February. Tonight down to 25 degrees with a northwest wind at 3 to 6 miles per hour. Anthony, take a look at the picture from Shedd Aquarium there. We have our, wager on that.
Oh, yes. You mean Adler. Yeah, it's like, it's just, just up to the right, just a touch.
I think we're going to, there, see that? Oh, that's a spectacular
Mike said
shot.
February 12th, it'll be dead center. So we will see tomorrow at 6, let's set our alarm for 6:57.
It'll probably be like 6:56. It'll be about a minute earlier. But that is a cool shot. Almost looks like an eclipse, doesn't it? Like the end of a solar eclipse. That is really pretty. And, all right. Let me show you the 7-day forecast now. And thank you, Nick, for getting that shot up there. We got 50 plus on the way. Friday, Saturday, Valentine's Day, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday could be really close to 60 degrees. 6:58. back to you, I believe.
Okay, yes, indeed. Mike, thank you very much.
Yeah, we're going to be checking back in on that freight train derailment that's happening over in the southwest suburbs. So we have Martha Hill with Metra on the phone. Good morning to you, Martha. I know that this is probably the height of you gathering some information about what's happening here, but can you help give us, our audience, kind of the latest on this derailment?
Yes, absolutely. Good morning. We first got the notification of the derailment at 4:45 a.m. So, obviously this is still a very active scene. We have been annulling trains on the Southwest service, everything from 800, 802, 804, 806, and even the outbound trains, 801, 803, 805, everything has been annulled. This is going to take a little bit to clean up. We're going to need our freight partners to come in, assess the situation, do the investigation, see what caused this derailment. Then we're going to have to come in, make sure the tracks are safe for operations. And once we get the green light, that's when we're going to start, helping our commuters get to where they need to go. But for right now, we are asking all our riders to either, drive to another metro line, whether that's the Heritage Corridor or the Rock Island, and take those trains into the city, or this is the day that you drive or take an Uber. But yeah, the morning commute is quite challenging this morning.
Martha, how long is that train? I know that some of these freight trains can be hundreds and hundreds of